Hi guys, let's do the Leetcode problem 2 today, which is add two numbers. It says that you're given two non-empty linked lists representing two non-negative integers. What is non-negative? Non-negative is 0 or positive. The digits are stored in reverse order and each of their nodes contain a single digit. Add the two numbers and return it as a linked list. Now, when he says reverse order, what does he mean by that? What he means by that is if you look at the example, you would see that it is storing 342 as the least significant digit first. So as you can see, 243. So the most significant digit is at the end of the list and the least significant digit is at the beginning of the list. So that's the idea of saying they're stored in reverse order. And we have to add these two numbers stored as linked list and return another linked list. And it's saying you may assume the two numbers do not contain any leading zeros except the number 0 itself. So you wouldn't say something like 0342 or 0465 unless you had a 0 by itself. So let's start coding and see what we can do here. So one thing is that because we have to return a list, we can start by initializing the head of the list with a list node, and so that would be the beginning of our resulting list. And now we would need a carry variable and the sum. So sum we can initialize to 0, and the carry, do we need a carry here or not? Let's see. Let's start by having carry equal to 0. So what are we going to do here is that we will start another variable temp, which is equal to um, the head in the beginning. And so in the beginning we start out by having head and temp, basically pretty much temp being having the same reference as the head. So now let's see, while L1 or L2 or carry. Now there are two approaches here. We can have a separate variable carry, or we can have the sum itself keeping track of the carry for the preview for the next iteration. So maybe we need not have a separate carry variable. We can have it in the sum itself, because another approach is to have carry as a separate variable. So while L1 or L2 or sum, we say sum equal to L1 dot val if L1 else 0 plus L2 dot val if L2 else 0, right? So this is a very Pythonic way of writing it. L1 dot val if L1 else 0. This is a very Pythonic way of doing things, because in Python you usually have these cases where you can write these kind of very concise expressions. Now let's go to we have sum. Now the sum at this point, sum will be a number either less than 10 or greater than or equal to 10, right? So if it is less than 10, we don't have a problem, but since it could be greater than 10, we can only use the least significant digit of sum. So we have to say, now let's start creating the resulting list node first. So how do we do that? We say temp next. This is our first ever in this while loop. This would be beginning of our resulting list is node. So here we say temp next equal to sum mod 10, because if you had 14 or 13, this would basically give us 3 or 4, because um, 14 mod 10 is 4, 13 mod 10 13, so on and so forth, whatever it is. So you'll get a least significant digit. So that, but now we also need to make sure that we take the carry forward, in this case in the sum itself, for the next iteration. So we say sum equal to sum. This is Python's way of doing integer division. So we are doing integer division here. This could also have been written as int sum divided by 10, because sum divided by 10 would have given you a floating point thing, and the integer passing it to the int function would have basically pretty much discarded the decimal value, and you would have got the just the whole integer. So that is that. Now see what happens. So temp next. Now what do we do with the temp? So we have allocated. Now we need to move to the next pointer. So we say temp equal to temp. Oh, see, I still have this C. You know, some of the things, some of the habits are not so easy to change. So I was using the C's way of pointing the next pointer. But this is not C, this is Python. So temp equal to temp dot next. Does that work? At the end of the day, when we are done with this, we have to understand that this list is basically, as you can see, we started having our first node of the resulting list from the next pointer of the head. So we have to return head next. And let's try to run this and see if it works. Saying int object has no attribute at line 14. Temp equal to head, and I set temp dot next. Why? What is the problem? Temp equal to head. Is there a problem here? Let's try again. It's saying that the int object has, oh, I see. So what we need to do is we have to allocate a new node here. So actually that was the problem. So let's see that now. Okay, so there is another problem. I think where time limit exceeded is because we have an infinite loop. That is because what is happening is we are not moving to the next node. So L1 has to advance to the next node. So L1 equal to L1 dot next if L1 else 0 else none, and L2 equal to L2 dot next if L2 else none. Ideally I would like to put these at the end here. Let's see now. So we should have a wrong answer, and that's, I guess, what is happening is, let's see why. So 5 plus 2 is 7. We have a carry here in the second point. 6 plus 4 is 10, 0, 1. But 4 plus 3, we are getting output of 7. But the expected output of the most significant digit was 8. And that is, let's try to debug that. Why that could be, because what would happen is, are we taking care of the carry or not? So here, see, if we had a separate carry, then we would have set this thing as the carry, and we would have said if L1 or L2 or carry. So what is happening is, I think we are not adding the previous value. So if we did this, sum equal to sum plus, so here you see, when we have a carry, where did we use that? We just continue to set sum equal to, that's why we have to say sum equal to sum plus. So we have to make sure that the previous value of sum, which is basically pretty much carry left over from the previous iteration of the loop, is still added in. So I think that should fix it. So let's do that. Yep, that works. Cool. So let's try to see, do a submit on this and see if it passes all the test cases. Cool. So it did pass all the test cases, and it's saying it's faster than 20% of Python 3 online submissions. So that was this. That was basically pretty much Leetcode 2. Add two numbers represented by linked list. And I would say if you take a look at a problem like that, its most important thing here is to keep track of your pointers, or I would say the references, so that you don't mess up the resulting list that we are creating here dynamically in the loop. And then also keeping track of the fact that instead of returning head here, we have to return head.next, because ultimately our list starts at the next pointer. Head was just to keep track of, you can say here, to the head of our output list. So because as you can see here, first time when temp was pointing at head, temp and was having the same reference as head, then we said temp.next. So we started allocating at the next. We started doing our real calculation at the next node. So we have to return here head.next. And if so, I guess those were the gotchas here, but otherwise it seems like a pretty straightforward problem. You could also have tried to have a separate carry variable, and that would have been all right as well. But then you will have to have sum equal to sum plus sum equal to carry plus this, and you have to continue to keep saying that. So in that case, we would have had something like this: carry equal to 0, and then here we would say carry equal to sum like this, and here we would have said sum equal to carry plus, and we would say while L1 or L2 or carry. So but I would say that folding the carry into the sum is probably a much cleaner solution, but carry on the other hand makes it very clear. So let's see if this one runs, this one passes as well. Let's see. All right, so that's accepted as well. I think the idea of having a separate carry variable is very intuitive, because we have, when we add these decimal numbers, we have a carry, and that kind of it very clearly keeps track, or kind of reminds us that there's a carry digit that we have to take to the next carry value 1 that we have to take to the next iteration. So I guess that looks good. Let's see if we can try to submit that one. Okay, wow, so that one is submitted, accepted as well. So yeah, so there you have it. I mean, there are like bunch of alternative approaches here, but pretty much I would say they're the same. Whether you fold the sum into carry or have a separate carry variable, either way it's fine. Happy coding, and in the next videos we would try to do more interesting problems from Leetcode. Adios.